The statute of limitations has expired on some of my best work ever that I've been keeping secret exclusively for my patrons. Now I get to show it to everyone. Last summer I saw a flyer on the Hominy Creek Greenway for an art installation called Hominy Rising. This is put on by the Friends of the Hominy Creek Greenway, and I knew when I saw it that I had to apply because I have such a personal history with Hominy Creek. Hominy Creek runs through Asheville. I've lived next to it for 20 years and it's always been a place where I go to practice my photography, and later it's where I learned to fly fish. That will come as a surprise to some because a lot of people say that Hominy Creek is too polluted to support fish. That's not true, but I always wear my waders when I'm fishing it because I don't want to get hepatitis or E. coli. Here's the thing, Hominy Creek for me serves as an exemplar of how fundamental creeks are to our urban existence, and also how terribly we treat them. As central as this place is to West Asheville, Hominy Creek has some of the poorest water quality in North Carolina. I wanted to tell this story. I applied to the show, I was accepted, and I went to the Hominy Creek Greenway to scope out the places I could install my exhibit. I chose a fork in the path because I had in my head the idea of two opposing photos. First, I wanted to shoot a photo of the interlocking bridges that go over Hominy Creek to support what once was Brevard Road, what is now Brevard Road, and Interstate 240. This is a place where we've taken a beautiful spot and built layer upon layer of urban infrastructure on top of it. And then for the second shot, I wanted to contrast with the first. I wanted to go up to the Hominy Creek's headwaters and find a place where there was no noticeable development. I thought the dichotomy of these two images would make an awesome statement, and I knew I had to print them big. So I decided to call up a local printer, Hinco Reprographics, and ask them just how big we could make these images. The answer is 48 by 48 inches, which is huge. I lived with this idea for a month. I made a giant square on my living room wall to remind me just how big this statement had to be and just what I was working toward. Because I wanted to print these shots huge, I bought a large format film camera and learned how to use it. And that was pretty difficult because I didn't have a lot of time to work with. So there was the buying of the camera, the buying of the lenses, the buying of Fresnel screens and learning how to fit them to the ground glass, and learning this whole new process in under a month. I visited the bridges with my digital camera and a wide angle lens, and I made a stitched panoramic image of the entire scene. I then compared that to different fields of view that I could get with my 6x6 and 4x5 cameras using really wide angle lenses. That's how I decided which lens to purchase and how I was going to make this shot. Compared to all the planning, the first shot was easy. I just showed up one evening with the right gear in the right light and made this image. Unfortunately, the second shot wasn't so simple. During the very short time span I had to work on this project, Hominy Creek experienced a historic flood when Tropical Storm Fred came to the mountains of western North Carolina. All the locations I had scouted for my second shot were completely destroyed. With the deadline approaching, I gave myself 1 week to explore the headwaters of Hominy Creek in the shadow of Mount Pisgah, and there I did a little extra legal exploring and was chased off with gunfire. That made a compelling argument for me to go back into my archives and look at the shots I already had, and with fresh eyes I discovered this image. With its high contrast and overhead structure and lack of any human involvement, I felt this would be the perfect contrast to the bridges photo. After making some laboriously high-resolution scans, the files were off to the printer, the prints were made, I went and bought some lumber, I enlisted a buddy to help me install giant posts on the Hominy Creek Greenway with sledgehammers, and the installation was complete. So now it's a year later, I'm releasing all this content both here and on my YouTube channel, and I'm so glad that I was a part of Hominy Rising, which was the first installation of its kind put on by the Friends of the Hominy Creek Greenway. Personally, I'm really glad I could pay tribute to a body of water that's always been an integral part of my experience living in Asheville, that taught me how to fish, and that really doesn't have a lot of people speaking up for it. Here are the two opposing photos, Hominy Creek with us and Hominy Creek without us.